Pew, 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 just a dope ass podcast. Pew, 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 pew. Pew, 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 just a dope ass podcast. Pew, pew, pew. What's up, motherfuckers? What's going on, motherfuckers? Yeah.
Hey, hey, happy Holly, people. Happy Holly. Start that off celebrating different aspects of different cultures. Went to the Holly celebration yesterday and got, different colored powders thrown all over me to celebrate that. So
Oh,
something
that's
different.
fire. Real,
So,
real festival of colors. Is that from?
absolutely.
Is that like the same? Is that in the same bag?
What? Festival of Colors? Yeah, the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. Turn up.
Festival of Colors. Happy to celebrate if I'm not mistaken, it's celebrating one like the a new year or whatever, but also celebrating the win of good over evil, positivity over negativity, things of that nature. So just like
Need a little
let's
bit.
celebrate positivity and love and
Motherfucker,
all of that.
motherfucker need a little bit of that right now, boy.
Oh, yeah. Well, we need more than a little bit because there's a lot of angry, hateful, spiteful, mean motherfuckery going on right now.
That that evil doing a number, boys. That motherfucker
Ooh.
working, putting up fucking Ray Lewis numbers, but
When hasn't it? Like when hasn't evil put up big numbers?
yeah. It's a good point. I
I think
mean,
like in our mind we have this idea of like trying to get back to some particular utopia, when in reality the utopia has never existed. Like this version of chaos is always present. It's always been there, it's always been present, it's always like relevant. It just looks different throughout time and we're consistently bombarded with it. We just have more of a way of knowing about it now. So we think evil's running rampant. And it's like, no, things are consistently being the way they've always been. It's just this is what it looks like for right now.
I do think that this is definitely like what it looks like right now. I think we have like I'm always leaning towards like a smidgen of an uptick when motherfuckers just when they got a little bit away from the root. Not to say everything over there, at the root was perfect, because it wasn't. Everything wasn't perfect. It was just it's some shit that we are, shit motherfuckers are saying now, and it's like, do a little bit of research, just like a casual. I remember like just little casual shit motherfuckers might have said in undergrad that I didn't appreciate how smart some of these, old motherfuckers was. I'm like, man, teach me literature or something. And they, they say some extra black shit. I'm like, oh hey, we had it, we had some shit together. Wasn't perfect, but it was some things together. It was some stuff. Hmm.
We didn't appreciate it when it was together. That's how it ends up not being together anymore.
That's a good point. Motherfuckers out here. I actually like. I actually do have a question because it for me it's popped up at least for the past couple weeks. How much does what's going on pop up in the room with you, like in the session? Like how much has that like been a thing?
Overtly or covertly?
Any vert, Uzi verts.
Uzi Vert. I'll say for the most part, almost all in some capacity are affected by what's going on in the world, various degrees. Like some people may be a little bit more anxious around it, so they can come in and like what's going on in the world or whatever recent events have happened that have been the topic of the week kind of weigh heavier on them because they grasp onto it a lot more. Whereas other people, it may be something that's in their purview or their rear view.
Mhm.
And like these are things I need to be prepared of. And it's like it'll come out in that capacity of like the worries of me trying to get X, Y, and Z things together because of all these different circumstances, situations, or things I'm trying to grow from, not to mention this over here as well. So it, a lot of these things do affect people in mass. I think it just how it affects them, and also I think it depends on how people grasp onto it. Some people hold on to the political stuff and things of that nature way more than others emotionally, which, for a number of different reasons, that could be their reality.
Yeah, I thought I had not today. I think it was like yesterday. It was some point this week, and it was like kind of like a thought slash conversation around like almost I promise y'all I'm gonna get good at telling people business without telling people business. But it was almost like the concept around like the like the luxury of panic, because it was kind of this discussion around like because things are going like quote unquote well on paper, that you have the luxury to pay attention to what's going on, because there's a side of you that's like my day to day is like okay, that I have like the time to look and give a fuck about what's going on, and be able to tie what's going on maybe a 3-4 billion miles away and tie it to what I'm going through over here. Whereas, I got some, it's like, well, motherfucker, I made it to tomorrow, and that's about as far as I got. And like kind of balancing between like, I guess like that feeling of like being genuinely worried, but also like, am I finding problems for myself by
Uh-huh.
being this engaged and all this other shit, where it's somebody who like, you know, is trying to figure out literally what the fuck we gonna eat tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think to that point, like, we do have a privilege of worry in certain regards. Like we have a privilege of being able to grasp on to world events and say that they are affecting us because we don't have to worry about as much as other people do. Like, say for instance, when it comes to America, bombing Iran, it had shit to do with the rest of us. That he moving on his own accord. But him and the other red hats bombing Iran, but the people in Cuba and what they going through, they don't give a fuck about that per se because they got their own struggles and they got an idea that they're gonna try to be next. Like they're gonna try to do the same shit over
Right.
here in a minute. So like I'm not entirely tripping over Iran because shit, we next up on the docket and they've been fucking with us for centuries. So this ain't like we dying over here, literally in the streets, dying of hunger or illness or whatever, with no support because the U.S. been fucking with shit, but also because our government is a dictatorship in some capacity. Like we have way more important shit to worry about. So I can understand you guys' outrage over there as far as what's happening in the country that's starting the wars or pulling the trigger on being the bully. But I don't know if I can find some rice for us to eat, and we are about to die because we don't have no food.
Yeah.
So some of our anxiousness here in the States comes from our privileged ability to not have to deal with it directly, but also from our empathy as far as being human beings and wanting to create change. And I'll say some of that is because we feel powerless. Like we're caught up within systems that we don't feel like we have the ability to change or really influence. And it's doing stuff that we wouldn't want our representatives to do to other people. So some disappointment, some guilt, some shame, and all of that ends up turning into our anxiousness that they may bring into session.
Yeah, I think I noticed that's been a theme of like which is a trip, because if us, you see a bunch of the therapy creators and therapist creators. And I'm glad, guys, I feel validated that we're all doing the same shit. Because it's like motherfuckers like are pretty much walking into the room with like, oh hey man, it was crazy. A couple weeks ago you had like, some general depression. Now we're working through an existential crisis because you just had no idea in your brain that like, hey man, they're like, that's illegal what they're doing outside. Yeah, yeah, it is. Let's let's sit with that. Let's process that. Like, yeah, it feels like that outside. How does how do we how do we work through that? It's tough, ain't it? One day you're going to work, other day you looking on the news and they just, not acknowledging your rights as a person.
Yeah.
It's a trip, ain't it? It's crazy.
Is it new?
No, I think that's another thing too, is like, from a black perspective, niggas is like, ah man, it's where the bison niggas, it was Tuesday. It's
Yeah.
what they out here doing, they doing dirt again. That's crazy, man. That's why you get all that sentiment online. Is like, black people mind their black ass business, and
Hmm.
you know, because God, that'll send me down another tirade, because the more you watch some stuff, the more you see, voter numbers and sentiments, and like how motherfuckers turned out and everything like that. Even for even for like the Jasmine Crockett, I saw somebody post like the numbers, and one day I have to like one of the algorithms, out of the pod page and my page, because they be fucking feeding off each other. I got to get one of the algorithms together, because when I see that, and then you scroll, and it's, I still love y'all, but it'll be, because now all of us are connected. It'll be somebody up there posting, I don't know, man, all the Justin LeBoy Jasons, which are saying things, and I was like, okay, if you just saw that statistic up there, right? Because we all are following the same page. You just saw that statistic that talked about like our voter numbers and like the stats of how we do this, that, and the third. How would you go down and with this motherfucker, you don't find those things don't correlate? I'm not giving niggas a pass on everything. However, what this motherfucker just said on this pod, it's the purple backgrounds, man. It's just something about them purple lit backgrounds that just, what the fuck? Well, how did that correlate? You just saw up there, you this motherfucker saying, niggas ain't shit. And then this next motherfucker like black women ain't shit. It's like we just all showed out at the polls. You just saw it. That had nothing to do with us. That, you don't think that shit correlates in other aspects of life? You think that just, damn nigga, I did shit.
I don't think a lot of us realize, or I'll say we're selective in our realization of how tailored a lot of these things are that we see. I was actually having this conversation with one of my bro. I told you I was having a conversation with my bro earlier before I came
Mhm.
here, and that was part of the conversation, which is not in, it's not out of alignment of what we've talked about, but as far as like how much it'll really shake someone's table if they start to dismantle the truths and identities that are really apparent in their reality. Um, but like, there's so many people that we as Black people, we have the conspiracy theorists, the woke, the etc. that has been demonized by certain entities for certain particular reasons. We know shit, but when it comes down to it, we choose against the things that we know and understand. But why is that? Like, we end up upholding the things that we complain about because we don't want to face the reality of what we actually see. Like, I can see this is a fact. I see this statistic. I see this fact. I see this narrative. I see this study. I see this everything. But if I really allow myself to embrace it, it's going to shake the fact that I just posted this, which is the counter narrative to that. And then I would have to look at myself and realize that I have an implicit bias towards reality, towards truth, towards this, towards that. I don't want to accept it. So then I try to uphold this narrative because it's prettier. And in so many different areas of our lives and our community and our cultures and mental health and all of this, we end up doing that where we're willing to uphold the lie, but complain about it at the same time when we know the truth.
Yeah, I think I definitely, I know it's like the ongoing joke of like, job security, because looking at all that shit, I was like, yeah, like you have a specific narrative that you are very, very attached to, probably based off of, sure, variety, and I'm not gonna lie, you have a couple conversations. I'm generous with, like, when I say like a variety of situations that have led you to this conclusion. And I even take that shot at just like I take that shot at anybody, honestly, because it'd be like, man, once we talk about this, like, I respect that this is a core emotion that's connected to this core event. However, the way that this shit is framing your entire outlook is absolutely insane. Um, and I'm on, for the record, I'm in the midst of one of my like textbook spirals where I'm like looking at shit, like reading shit. So like if it's not political, I ran upon something, and everybody don't choose the pod. So, I don't put everybody life out there, but I be getting my motivation specifically from those I know. I don't go fuck about strangers. So I recently, again, it's at least five or six that I've seen like kind of it'll be like something political, like I said, or something social about us. And then the next thing will be like some, cockamamie bullshit from, you know, whatever nigga or lady is saying stupid stuff that is I don't know, Dr. Brian adjacent, whoever. And so me, a fucking certified car carrying crash out, I saw like six people discuss um bell hooks again and a will to change. And I was like, okay, cool, man. I, a card carrying asshole, I'm gonna go read it again because I know I didn't read four of these things. I said I wasn't gonna read this shit no more. I read it again, and I get back to my same shit. Like, bitch, did you read it? Because I'm tired of y'all talking to us. Bitch, did you read it? Because it just when and it's for niggas too. Because it's like I see niggas online foaming at the mouth about it. And I'm like, my boy, if you read this shit, you would probably feel more empowered about ways to go about life. And I only say that not even to get into the gender war shit, but about like how much how much that shit informs motherfuckers' opinions and actions in other ways. It's some niggas that was sitting out there, not a bunch, statistically speaking, but it's like went straight full. I'm voting for a dick, however micro it is, because when I look up there and I see, said woman, she reminds me of, I don't fucking know, man, Ashley, who said some weird shit to you in college and you ain't never got over that shit. Like,
Yeah.
and y'all just, man, I know in my head I'd be like, everybody got to get to it. I understand if everybody got to it, I would probably have to go figure out something else to do with my actual existence, and this degree would be like dog shit. But that is my current like headspace of just always going like, okay, man, if this was this, was this, was this, I look like that fucking on a daily basis. I look like that fucking meme with the dude with the little red from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I just be at the house like, because damn, we could fix some shit if niggas would just sit the fuck down. That's not a good opinion, my nigga or my lady. That shit is trauma. Go somewhere. It don't got to be me. Go anywhere and unravel that goddamn shit. Because the shit you promoting, I know you didn't read that. Because ain't no way you would have. There ain't no way this go together. Shut the fuck up.
Do you think that trying to unravel some of the perspectives or trying to inform the actual narrative versus the counter narrative will be a good solution, or do you think people will get stuck in rumination around whatever they're learning or whatever they're believing, and then no actual change happens?
I think it's good. Like in theory, I do think that. I mean, I think we're watching rumination. I think
Mm-hmm.
even in our personal lives, like people we know and love in unison, love you to death. Like know you, engage with you. I also am aware that you are a ruminating motherfucker, and that is why to to see me on a regular basis, we kick it. Whoever I may be talking to, it's always funny. It'll never be anything else because I know I'm gonna press a button and it's gonna explode unless I feel like it that day. Um, I do think but I think that's and I've seen, god damn it, I'm gonna remember some of these creatives. I will say that again, those that are in, I think, mental health space and maybe the philosophy space pages, there's been a couple things that I found that are like the conversation is more so coming up about, what's that adage, like the only way is through, that
Mm-hmm.
like you cannot obtain or progress in any way without going through the thing, whatever it is that you're running into. Like there's no way around it. There's no soothe or salve for it. Even you know, uh like people talk, like relationship shit is one, it's easy to talk to, but two, for preface, I'm fresh out of like back-to-back sessions, so I'm deep in relational headspace, guys. So, but it's like even the idea when we talk about like love and relationships, that majority of the topics and the way the conversations work is working like around or babysitting your trauma, as opposed to there is no such thing as going for this thing regardless of how healed you are without the risk of getting hurt. instead of trying to maneuver around that, you approach this shit is like, oh yeah, I'm actively participating in an activity where this person has all the fucking tools in the world to absolutely destroy me because I'm engaging in love and vulnerability. And if it don't work, you fucking, you pick yourself, pack up, Pinocchio, and you go on about your life. That's the game. As opposed to working around it, you're doing a lot of real stupid circular dumbass thinking where it's like, oh, if I got used to I'm a workout fucking analogy user. Yeah, you break down, you build up. That's the game. And that headspace is, I feel like, yeah, where motherfuckers get stuck at, regardless of the thing. It's just like a hamster wheel of that thought process didn't make no sense.
Yeah. I'll say, like, I notice in therapy quite a bit. I give people a lot more credit than it may seem. Saying that to say, like, I think a lot of people have decent enough insight to where they understand what's wrong with them and where it comes from therapy. Is just that they can't emotionally get past the thoughts and feelings of it. And then their behaviors come stagnant. And when it's time to actually do a behavior of change, somatically they just can't do it. There's something that keeps them from being able to do the behavior they know they need to do to actually progress forward. And I say that because not even do we just see it in therapy, we see that in politics, we see that in culture, we see that in our communities. It's not that people don't know or don't understand. There's some sort of deep emotional tie that makes them behave or do things differently than what they understand. And that ends up being the issue more so than them having no understanding at all.
Yeah, I think yeah, there is this thing um, of like, I don't know, like identifying or not even identifying, like your pain or issue becoming your identity all around as opposed to like something that happened to you. I know that might sound flippant depending on somebody who heard this and is like placing their fucked up super event, which is super valid. But I think a lot of it is definitely like motherfuckers go, this happened to me, therefore this is like the core crux of my existence, as opposed to that being a
Mm.
thing that we need to process and work through so you can continue to build whoever this person is that you're trying to become or will become or so on and so forth. Um, but I will say, being on this side, I used to always think like, I got a pretty good skill set from just over the course of, my career, or whatever. But like sitting on this side and like having to sit there and like I spent like, I don't know, it was like 20 minutes trying to like really, really process through like inventorying yourself. Like sit with that. I know we use all these terms, but like, now let's go through our body, let's go through what that feels like even like just working through like the thing that black men do a lot. I asked this a lot in session. Now it's becoming like one of my little fucking one of my little go-to things. Like, nigga do how you doing? Nigga say okay. And it's like, oh, okay, like okay, okay, or like, what does that mean? And it's like,
Hmm.
like I'm good. And so at one time, like just literally walk through the week. I've done that. I've done that like a couple times now. Let's walk through, you're okay, cool. Let's walk me through just Monday to Monday. Monday, I got up, oh, okay. Monday was cool. To Tuesday. Oh, Tuesday. Once we get to Wednesday, it's like, yeah, and I didn't really like that on Wednesday actually. And then also, damn, that happened too. I didn't like that. And it's like, okay, well, that's great. Now we're kind of working on that should take you 30 minutes. So I always think about how many motherfuckers are like just you pick up this phone, you get up in the morning, you scrolling in this shit or you taking the shit and letting it just direct shit. You didn't felt 57 emotions taking your morning dump and at no point took an inventory of like, I'm not clear headed. I'm not addressing this issue or this thought or this action in any way with like a rational, clear mind. Nigga, that response wasn't what they be saying. That wasn't a read. That was trauma from Darrell when you were 20. You're 37
Yeah.
now. You've never you never processed that. That was my nigga, that ain't got nothing to do with her. That was your dad when you were 13.
Right.
You about to be 40 next week.
Right. At what point in time did you realize like it was you? It was the onus was on you to drop that. And it's not that you haven't realized that, you just kept being confronted with the ability to physically drop it. And you said, nah, I'm gonna blame some other shit instead. And then it just turns into this big ass lie that gets pulled further and further away from the original thing to where you telling yourself it's not what it really is. But somebody like us could pull the thread and be like, oh yeah, it's I figured. You got the red wires, the blue wires, the green wires. I
Kaboom.
can see that that looked like a green wire thing. I'm gonna pull this green wire. We just gonna see. Like, yep, it ain't changed no colors. It's this one. So the more here, hold this. Keep walking that way. And at some point, you can you're gonna get to a point where we identify that this is the problem. But a lot of people compound the things that are going on in their life because they refuse to look at the original. Now, in some regard, in some respects, I understand people have been taught to ignore it. So, say for us, I've mentioned it on here and a number of different times. Like, Black culture is not our culture; it's our trauma response. So we make trauma look good, right? And part of us making trauma look good, especially in America, has been to avoid certain things. Like we're finding a way to mask and deal with and cope with certain circumstances while not addressing them at the same time. Just completely divert your attention somewhere else. Or you're addressing it indirectly, but you don't understand you're addressing it directly. So, like we can look at, say, telephone, right? We know the adage of telephone, you tell one thing in the beginning, and by the time it gets back around, the story is completely different. So
Mm-hmm.
we can look at, say, dancing and twerking and all that stuff is looked at as a negative now because it's lost sight of its cultural representation or its cultural connection. When in reality, say for us in mental health, dancing is a great way to get rid of stress and grief and negative emotions because it gets trapped in the hips. So certain cultural ways of dancing in the past were ways of dealing with trauma, but we lost sight of that being what it is, and it just turned into some performative shit that we do for attention or for avoiding whatever the fuck. When in reality, it's no. This is meant for you to address it, to deal with it, to bring some attention to it, and we just don't understand its importance anymore. So it compounds, and we end up losing sight of the original thing.
That
Um,
makes me think of also how motherfuckers take like therapy language and start abusing bullshit because I've seen that. And like, you look at plenty of cultures back on the continent. Some of them don't ask because I appreciate that. I appreciate
mhm.
that. But some of them are like, doing it for like cultural practices. This is how we dance and so on and so forth. Sometimes I look at that shit like and it's not just that, that's just the topic of now, but like because even, sometimes dudes will say that. I think about that in regards to how niggas abuse the concept of I'm a one man wolf pack of taking something, you not truly embodying it, but you liking the language, therefore that you can like hide your bullshit under something that is genuinely like positive. Like I think that's dope,
Mhm.
but I think that I always think about like, are you doing it for the spiritual practice? Because if you want to throw ass, you could throw ass. So
Yeah.
like, and I don't this is not me trying to take like some fucking conservative stance on like ass shaking. It's about like I think people being because I think sometimes people use that as a way to sidestep the work that it would take. Because to throw ass spiritually, you would need to do the work to get in community, to commune, I guess, with said spirituality and ancestors and so on and so forth, which takes work. But if you just kind of want to like, pop that pussy and call it spiritual, you could kind of fuck up the headspace, or not the headspace, the idea of it, something that could be genuinely positive. And you could do both. You could be spiritually filthy, but I think that people also like, once you kind of get the information on the thing, you know, you could take a little bit of time. It's difficult, but you could take a little bit of time to get more well versed in it so you can shit, I don't know, separate. Maybe left cheek is spiritual cheek and right cheek is fucking, get to it cheek. So niggas need to know you might be intertwining.
Yin and the yang.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie, man. Y'all, you want to hang with a bad bitch, but I'm not really feeling spiritual, and neither are you. you know?
Right. I'll say like even more so understanding of why we have the dual narratives. So say like say it ass shaking, it got demonized at some point and looked at as a negative. It was a way of healing for us to dance and sing and shake ass.
Those
And then
Yakubian flatbacks.
I'm about to say certain people start hating on it because they couldn't do it. So we know that y'all low key communicating. We know y'all talking to each other, and we can't do the shit the way y'all can. So y'all niggas shut up and stop talking that way. Y'all talk this way. Y'all talk with these line dances because we can line dance, but we can't throw ass the same way y'all do. So you are allowed to kind of do this two step, but not with ass shaking being thrown. And then the church jumped in as well and said, well, yeah, white Jesus said it's blasphemous to throw ass as well. So there's two layers of why you shouldn't do this thing. You further and further and further get pulled away from a true understanding of left cheek is the light and right cheek is the dark, and then you come together
Mhm.
and you create the yin and the yang when you
Hey
use the
man,
spiritual practice of working them together.
man, you trying to call on somebody, man. You need some drums on this motherfucker. Think they
Right.
always had drums on deck? They didn't, but they did have her. She was a conduit. Yeah, do you,
And
you know,
you
research?
wouldn't let her be hurt. So partly when we talk about losing sight of like the origin and how like certain therapeutic things can get lost in transition, how do we look at like this Harris family versus 50 Cent beef that's going on as far as like beefing was supposed to be a way of like healthy expression within rap and competitiveness, and now it's a lot of shaming and putting one's trauma at the forefront of the crowd so they can get laughed at more than the other and all types of other stuff. It's lost sight of what it really was supposed to be. So how do we look at that situation?
I mean, at that level, you would definitely probably have to do more of a critique on hip hop as a whole. You know, once upon a time, hip hop was about. I mean, even though these particular individuals, for the most part, are into lyrics and blah 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 blah, but you know, we've gone through a couple beefs where like a lot of that shit was like popularity contest as opposed to what qualifies as a good quality like work of art and shit. um, However, man, I repeat, I'm not a big music fan of King. However, I like everybody to heal. I like everybody to take a as positive an approach as possible. But if you get on this here internets, you get on this if you get on Beyonce's internet and talk about my mom, yeah, my boy. Like I think about it. What's that? What is he? 23? Is he even like latter 20s? Is he like there's
No,
like
he's
I
not.
just
He's not even mid 20 yet. He's
it's
approaching mid 20.
I think I've been a pretty, you know, upwardly mobile, you know, upstanding citizen for a good chunk of my years. There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way a nigga with millions of followers and I got that type of resource up gonna talk about my mom on the internet and think what? I think he doing a good job because 50 would have had to whoop my ass. He'd have to physically ball me to fuck up somewhere. I got money, I got access to planes. Yeah, I'm out here. I'm in Brooklyn, pussy. Wherever you from. Like I'm out here. Like so I know I know I feel like it is definitely heavy and disrespectful, you know, to play with the dead and shit. However, man, I think it's unreasonable for people to have watched and enjoyed 50's tenure of the boogeyman of hip hop and think that, you know, you set the terms. You
Yeah.
like we watched this shit like when motherfuckers was talking about you know, even pre Kendrick when Drake smoked like Meek and was, you know, that motherfucker was taking like shots. You set the stage of like, oh shit, now for a good diss track, we gotta make this motherfucker his song, nigga. Like it's you know, we've upped it. There's you know, Push T comes out and makes it very, 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 very personal. You set the you can't play, you can't yeah, you just can't play a game and not be prepared for the response, especially when you playing in that regard. Ain't no motherfucking way I swing on you, this nigga do a flying knee and put me in a motherfucking rear naked choke, I can't be like, man, that's not fair. You should have put your hands on that nigga. That's your fault that you couldn't fight as good as he could. That's crazy as hell.
I would say part of me wants to think of like from the therapeutic standpoint of like whose trauma is going to end up winning. Because, like you said, for 50's career, we've seen 50 make a business and get himself into the industry by way of the trauma aspect. Like beef is what got him in. I'm talking shit about everybody. I'm gonna talk all kinds of crap, and then that kind of works. Then I get shot, and then I use that trauma to help me come into the industry even more. And since then, I've been taking my frustrations out on anybody that I feel like is coming after me in any capacity, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I went from being the bully, antagonizing people and poking them, then I get shot, and now I'm coming at people before they have the opportunity to shoot me. I'm shooting everybody first, right? And then you have King. Well, King has had his crash out moments talking about how shit in the family may not be how people make it seem, and him being, the black sheep to a degree, and this, that, and the other, blah,
Why are
blah,
you
blah. He's
playing
had his
me?
right. He's had his crash out moments, but I think like him having that perspective is what makes him want to take the forefront of this conversation. So it's not even entirely about defending your mom. It's like neither two motherfuckers that don't have the emotional capacity to actually have a conversation are jumping on tracks and trying to make it bigger and worse than what it actually can be. Which 50 ain't really jumping on the tracks like that. He just keep throwing posts.
Yeah,
But King,
he made a few, but they're like they seem
I
like
don't think those are actual diss tracks. I think they're just songs.
yeah, those are just kind of songs. I'm like, all right, there's a little bit, there's like a bar or two in here, kind of, but like this is just
No,
a
because
song.
we know if he really wants to talk shit, what he can. Ain't no way I'm gonna make a post that's like super direct, but my song is like, I kind of maybe hinted at it a little bit, but I didn't really. Nah, I think those are just songs, and he's just kind of letting people know, okay, if I do decide to actually start, I can start, but I really don't even care to do so too much. Whereas for King, this is his moment to shine. So because nobody's paid attention to me, nobody's listened to me, this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. And I got the little man syndrome. I have to make myself seem bigger than what people think I am. I can't let people punk me. So I'm gonna go at the bully even hard. Like he's doing what 50 did to get in, except 50
Yeah,
has the stature behind him. But it's like trauma, one trauma being unaddressed in a healthy way at one point in time, compounding over the time to where it gets met with its equal or its more recent version of itself. Because King out here selling packs of za with 50 mom face on it and shit like
man.
that. So we spoken on your mama pack because I put up a picture. Like people have said worse about your parents.
Yeah,
People have sued your parents saying worse. So like why is this the opportunity? But I think part of him is like taking his trauma, taking it out on 50. This gets me in good graces with my family again. This gives me a platform for people to actually listen to my music and see that I have talent and like I'm using my trauma to propel me forward the same way 50 did.
I definitely think too. Like it's one thing. Like you can't stop him. Somebody definitely of like the crash out mentality. If y'all did it, y'all can't say shit. Like they might have been able to rein the boy in if everybody had stayed like silent, did this shit over phone. Soon as you pop out with a song, yeah, I don't got shit to do. I'm already rich. I'll crash on this nigga forever. Like I'll make myself a better rapper in how much I just keep producing. And
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I can't speak. I can't speak to that statement of somebody who give a fuck less because I don't know that that's true. I don't think 50 has a fair depth of not giving a fuck. I just think, sometimes it's definitely hard to battle. Yeah, it's hard to battle like youth too, because like 50 at the end of the day is Captain Mobile Man. So yeah, I think at a certain point you run the risk of, the generation you in. Everybody wants something new right here, right now. And while you are probably off, really coordinating your next 50, $100 million deal, that nigga is turned today. As we speak, probably somewhere turned like a motherfucker. I'll make another one tomorrow. So, in the realm of like beef, he might have his hands full. In the realm of like, I'm a legitimate legend and like full fledged. Like it honestly is probably like no sweat off that nigga back because
Yeah,
there's always the idea that he's somewhere dedicating a villainous amount of money and resources. I don't know, man, to buying a nigga's whole like you fuck around and a year or so from now, he's like, I didn't forget this. And now there's something you hold dear. I own half of, whatever the fuck it is. Nigga get mad. Like a nigga been trolling Jim Jones in the most crazy way fucking ever. So I just like you just now, I will say this, like now taking a shot at that nigga, like this is beyond hip hop. You niggas now need to be all aware on all fronts, on our business ventures, on our personal matters. Don't nobody go to jail for no weird shit because it's up there. And it's that nigga is stuck there. This is he's on the back end of life. This is till they put that nigga fifth in the ground. So they got this for life. This is over with.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he definitely has the resources and means to where he can take it to different levels if he wants to. To a degree, I would say for King, he knows he has the backing of someone that can do the same. Like his dad may not have as much influence as 50 in certain avenues, but you do got those types of resources at your disposal, especially if you stay in Atlanta. So I think part of him is also maneuvering a particular way because he know he can get away with it.
Yeah, I think yeah, and I think it does kind of go. I mean, we're all connected, but the regional shit does play a part. The niggas are, Atlanta, I feel like has always maneuvered itself like that. That it was I want to say it was a Dro quote. One time I think he was on the Breakfast Club and they were talking about like the trajectory of his career. He kind of in so many words was like I give a fuck, but he's like, I eat in my own backyard. Like Atlanta is very niggas from Atlanta is very Atlanta. As long as I'm good at home, I could give a fuck what y'all do. And so being Ti, which is that whole family, whichever way you want to cut it, hip hop royalty, Atlanta fucking super royalty. You can only do so much to me, like from wherever you at. Like I got a good section where I'm always gonna be the fucking man.
Yeah.
So I will say
So
this.
go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just thought about it because I'll be making a little. I think I made a Jim Jones joke last episode. However, they did bring up a good thing that I saw a lot of people like talking about. The that conversation surrounding like reposts and like what does it seemed like something like a conversation around what support looks like,
Mm-hmm.
and I did want to pick your brain on that. Where the fuck is this video at? One day we're gonna stop. No, we're not. We're gonna continue to send people many things in this inbox. I'm not. I mean, yeah, I was finna lie. I was finna tell a crazy lie. Every time I look back in
To
this
the
thing,
inbox.
yeah, every time I look back in this inbox, I'm like, man, y'all are so lucky that niggas is forgetful because it'd be like 40 billion topics on the floor. Oh shit, I forgot that. The fucking hitmaker thing, only talking to his therapist, not his lady. Uh,
Yeah.
uh,
That's just as well.
okay, I'll stop at those. I think I found it
I
though.
open up IG and I see y'all post. I'm gonna like it because y'all are my friends and y'all are people that I in it. Like people really see your shit and just keep scrolling. I don't understand that. Like I just be like, flipping at. I mean, it don't really mean that much to me, but I'm trying to figure out like why would somebody just that shit, that shit really happen go right by you. But you know what I'm saying? Niggas secretly might not really fuck with you.
I was thinking about that like as an adult. I'm like, is that a little much? Like I go back and forth with that. I've gone back and forth with that for like years. I'm like, is that much for like grown people who got lives and shit to do? Um, as opposed to they got into that. I feel like we've talked about that before though, about like, you don't know nigga fuck Ti. You niggas don't know Ti. Since you motherfuckers post it's a good cool pod. Expeditiously. Bitch, you know me for real. What the fuck is your got the nerve to
Yeah.
ask me how, got the nerve to ask me how the pod doing when you see me. So I go back and forth about how much of that like is valid because motherfuckers do have lives. The algorithm is what it is. Uh, shadow bans and all types of other shit. But it was funny
Mm.
because them niggas is rich. So I was like, oh, you rich niggas talking about this. What's your problem?
I think in general, because we have context to compare our reality to, that's always going to bring about some discrepancies in the conversation. Um, we have the ability of looking at people's stories and seeing how they repost fuck shit all day long,
Mm.
right? So I can see, like you said, the Justin LeBoy or whoever the fuck esque post. I can see you post three, four, five of those a day, and I never see you post anything from the pod. So when you ask me about the podcast, I'm gonna take it a little bit of a particular way just because it's like I get to compare how you support other narratives with how you don't support this one, right? If I didn't have that context of comparison, I probably wouldn't care as much. And then I can hear from that person what my influence is to you, even if the numbers may not show it. So, like, I've had plenty of people that have asked me how the podcast is going, people that I've never seen them repost any of our stuff, but they'll tell me in conversation, like, no, like, I really do enjoy and get something from every episode, whether it's a couple laughs here and there or some information or a perspective I never thought of, and this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the day, the ability to change a perspective or influence is more important than the numbers per se. The
Mm.
numbers may validate us and let us know that more and more people are getting something from it and that our reach is growing, not for the sake of like trying to completely get rich off of it, but like we want to know that we're making a positive impact and that people are listening and these conversations are being had. And in reality, they are. We just don't have people reposting it to say, "Hey, check out what they said on JADA. It's made me think about X, Y, and Z." And they'll go on a think piece about other stuff, but not something that they hear from the pod. So it's not always a maliciousness or that they don't fuck with you or support you for real. Sometimes people, it's easier for them to ingest and repost the bullshit more so than it is something that's thought provoking. The thought provoking things may go in silence. So it's like, at least the analogy that comes to mind right now. Like it's super easy for somebody to go grab some fast food that doesn't really have nutritional value because it's convenient.
Mm.
They know that a dietitian and meal prep and all that other stuff is accessible, but that's more difficult. And in serious conversation, when you talk to them, they will tell you how important that is to them and how they need to do it more often. But in practice, they're going to stick to doing what's more convenient with. I was strapped for time, so I just stopped at Chipotle because Chipotle is the best healthy option of fast food that I can grab, right? So, like we talked about earlier, how people can have an understanding, but there's something that stops them from behaviorally changing what they need to change to fit that narrative. It's the same thing when it comes to sharing content. I can share the bullshit way more easily than I can share whatever Jada's podcast quote or segment or whatever the case is that was thought provoking to me.
I rock with that. I think yeah, I liked it, but I definitely think that like I've put a bit of I don't know, I feel like I don't know, in my mind is pretty healthy, like a fair amount of disassociation from it. Because like, I've been making shit forever. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, post it or whatever. Also I think having had even the few conversations over the years of like motherfuckers who I felt like, I don't know, like banked it all on like a pod or something. And I think I have like, the luxury of like, I do this because I like it, but I have like a career. So, you know, I think that might help with like not focusing as much on, and maybe I should, because when I see that shit, I'm like, I'm not an analytics nigga like that. I know like people who are, and I think that that's like, I think that is probably like a good fucking trait to have if you try to like be good at a thing. But yeah,
Mm.
I'm dog shit at that. So like, I just be like, well, as soon as I look in like the story, I'm like, I know y'all. Once I post it in my story and I don't see like, I'm like, all right, well, but I think I've had like years of just maybe it's numbing. Maybe I'm the thing. I might be numb to it. Cause yeah, I post that shit every day. I know who I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see Felix, I'm gonna see B, I'm gonna see Chardon. Uh depending on the social media platform, I'm gonna see my mama's ghost burner. I'm gonna see you. After that, the rest is up to whoever. I appreciate you. But
Yeah,
yeah, I just kind of have like a base level of how's it? We could skip this part. What you want to talk about? You don't have to say that.
yeah.
We can just talk about what you want to talk about.
Yeah. I think that may be also a lead in because that's how people create commonality. There's something that may be in the back of their mind and not the front. And in order to create a connection, that they'll ask about it, even though they may not participate in it as often. So it's like, say, whatever, you get into circle spectrum esque geek circles, and I'm uncomfortable with talking and I'm socially awkward. They'll throw out the, so what anime? Do you watch anime? Which anime did you watch? Like this finding a way of commonality and connection so that I can create some sort of comfort in this because I don't know where comfort lies because I don't do this often.
Good point.
Um, but saying that these are all different examples of how people can approach those things, and it doesn't always have to be because somebody doesn't hate you, doesn't support you for real, or hate you, or whatever the case is. Not to say that that's not a relevant reality, but that may not always be the case. I think if we look at the sample size, that's important. So, like, Fab is sharing that quote and talking to Jimmy and all of them. And I'll say for rappers, it's common for rappers to talk about their haters. Everybody wants to talk about how they're haters and they're doing this and doing that. And there's somebody hating on them in the wings, even if it's somebody close, family, friends, etc. Every rapper has that narrative. Just like all those rappers say, that I can't trust these niggas in the industry. I don't have no friends in the industry, but you niggas are doing features for each other. Like it's
All the time.
there's a lot of counterintuitive narratives that happen, but that creates the worldview that they look at things. So yeah, I'm going to see things as somebody being a hater because they don't do X, Y, and Z before I realize maybe it's just not that easy for them to do so, or maybe I don't feel comfortable doing so, or maybe there's a barrier of some sort that doesn't have to do with them not looking at me in a favorable way.
Good point.
So it depends. And everything which pisses people off, at least on mine. Like you the crash out. People may expect you to be the crash out and say some shit and like that's you. I am a card carrying member. I am Mr. Gray. Like when, when people talk about the spectrum, I am with the gray area all the way, which pisses people off because I can see how there's a number of different perspectives to look at and it drives people nuts. But we condition ourselves based on our trauma, our feelings, our experiences, etc., to only see one narrative. We forget all the other potential makeups that exist in play as well.
I think that's valid. I think there's like a because I even think about that sometimes when we're having a conversation. I feel like I probably have it cutting this up or whatever about like the clickbaity stuff is the stuff that goes. But most times, like,
Mm-hmm.
because I haven't done it in a minute, but I was going through a run of a while, like, oh, I think this shit is dumb. Well, let me go listen. They might have a point. They didn't. It was just it was just 1 hour of just like repetitive bullshit. Not every pod, but like a few of the ones that I'm like, oh, okay, there is something to this, like, saying something for click's sake. Like
Yeah,
I've definitely lied, so to speak, because I'm like, oh yeah, I cut this up definitely in a way that like seems like we were getting to it. We weren't. This was the most cool conversation ever. But that 30 seconds where we was crashing out, like, yeah, I'm gonna clip that. Because that's what
yeah.
y'all.
So that's what you want to see. I'm like, I'm giving you what you're asking for, with the hopes that you'll come and see that there's more than that.
Yeah, I think that there's which is a cool part of it. I enjoy to a degree of like paralleling it to like, I got my little antennas up about doing the work and shit. Cause I was like, oh yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
is a bit of like this is a bit of like dropping my dick on the table of like, here's what I think is the best way, whatever. Whereas where I'm actively, participating in doing the work of growth and healing, it's not big. It's not a real dick on the table environment. It's very much so like, you are at this level. We're gonna kind of like coax it out of you. We're gonna, use those shades of gray to kind of Not that shade of gray, you freaky motherfucker, you. Um,
Or
well, I hope you get comfortable in that. I've had that conversation before about helping you get more comfortable in that space of yourself. Um, but yeah, and I'm not. This is for the record. If you're listening to this, this is in no way some type of testament to me changing the fucking wheel. I like dropping my nuts on the table. I come here to do that. I'm a professional everywhere else. I did not start this to be a professional here. Like the fuck, I got a good job. Like,
yes.
yeah, this is like this is the roll of the dice, people. Like, um, but yeah, it's that from a bunch of rich niggas. I was like, oh look at y'all. I'd be hyper fixated on things where niggas be feeling because I feel like a lot. One, niggas do be manipulating and abusing their feelings. I'm not condoning that, but there is a lot of areas and a lot of things that are spaces where niggas are absolutely in touch, in tune, communicating, and it's like, no, that nigga might do that in a variety of areas, but it needs to look or feel a certain way for it to be validated, and that's not fucking cool. There's very
Yeah.
much so. I want to definitely move past this, not past, but like expand this conversation when I see a lot of motherfuckers talk about, man, we got to be in spaces where we talk, and we absolutely do. However, the listening and comprehension and ability to digest, process with the information the nigga communicates, y'all gonna have to start talking about that shit some more. Because I shit you not everything, but y'all talk about something too much. I'm gonna go back and read it. And y'all aren't reading the things. Y'all are full of shit. And niggas gotta stop howling into the fucking void about how much they hate a certain subject or person or topic. Go read that shit. Don't just let them get on this motherfucking internet and tell you when I read Birds of a Revolution. That shit. It's some fire shit for you in there. Now, that motherfucker who's talking to you, they're just taking the cliff notes that they like. No, fuck that nigga. Go read it.
Yeah.
Because it's you get in that motherfucker, it's like, hey, fuck is this is amazing. What the fuck are you talking about?
Right. Let's take a quick pause and come back to it.
Oh, I was gonna wrap it, but I'm tired.
Oh. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Rapping, or are we gonna questions rap?
We ain't got none.
Oh.
Yeah, man. We thank y'all for listening. If y'all ask questions, we will answer. I'm hungry and I need your shit. So have a good one.